Well, there's a real buzz here at the ARLA Propertymark conference, and I'm delighted to be joined now by ARLA Chief Executive David Cox. And David, first of all, I have to say thank you so much for inviting us along here today. It's so great to be here at this amazing event.
Well, thank you very much. I'm hoping you're enjoying the day. We're just coming to the final break now, so the delegates are just coming out the hall for their final break before we go into the last session. Had a fantastic day today. We've got over 1,050 delegates in the room, largest exhibition we've ever had. I think it really shows why people come to learn, to network, to make sure that, especially with things like the tenant fee ban coming, how they've got to adapt their business models. And there were so many new exhibitors here today that haven't been here before because the boom in PropTech over the last couple of years. Yeah. I think actually the fee ban has helped PropTech massively because it is looking about reducing costs, increasing income.
Well, I want to ask you about the fees ban in a moment, but first of all, just some of the speakers that you've had here today. Obviously we've had government minister, but some of them quite, I guess, left of field, like the ex-boss of Sainsbury's and also Nick Clegg. Why did you want to have speakers from outside of the world of property?
I suppose there's two key aspects to what we look for when we're putting together ARLA Conference's agenda. We need the political, because agents are governed by a huge amount of law, and we need the business, because they are, after all, running businesses. Justin King took a failing supermarket and made it the second largest supermarket chain in the country under very difficult circumstances. He is all about an agent of change, dealing with difficult circumstances in a business environment and building success. I thought it was absolutely perfect for this year's conference. This is what agents have to do for over the next 12 months before the ban comes into force. Nick Clegg, similarly, famous politician, some may say infamous politician, took the Liberal Democrats to their largest success and their worst defeat in the last 30 years. He's walked the corridors of power. He knows how difficult it is to get concessions, negotiate with government to get what you really want. And I think it's something that agents don't fully understand entirely what we have to do when we're trying to lobby government to get concessions on things like the tenant fees ban. And what may seem like small wins are actually huge steps forward for us in some of the things that we do. And so Nick's been very much talking about compromise and getting things done in politics.
I think he is an inspired choice. I really do, David, because a lot of sort of, certainly in terms of landlords and trade bodies, landlords are saying you're not doing enough to represent our needs. They don't understand how long these things can take and how important it is the whole lobbying process, that it's, as you rightly said, it's little wins. And to have somebody like Nick Clegg, here today explaining that, I think it's really important that the agents understand what you're doing for them behind the scenes and that it's not a quick fix.
Absolutely, and it's something you think about the huge length of time it takes for government to do things. They announced the tenant fee ban 23rd of November 2016. Bill hasn't actually made it into Parliament yet, and we're coming up on mid-2018. We've still probably got another 12 months to go. Might be 6th of April next year. We don't know yet. It's going to depend how it goes through Parliament, when it goes through Parliament, and all the work that goes on behind the scenes, meeting with MPs, meeting with ministers, meeting with other lobbying organisations, trying to build coalitions and consensus around specific aspects and specific issues within the ban. It's a huge amount of work. It's why we have an entire team at Propertymark to do that on our members' behalf. And however much I wish I could wave a magic wand, or can't you just tell the housing minister this? I do, but no, I don't have a magic wand. I can't just get the government to change policy on the whim. It is a mechanism of persuasion. I think the prime example of it as well is regulation of the industry. ARLA started this campaign 20 years ago, and I have tried year after year after year to get a government minister to stand on that stage upstairs and say we will regulate the industry. Last time, 2 years ago, we had a government minister. He stood on the stage and went, I will not regulate the industry. But today, Heather Wheeler said, we've listened, prevention is better than cure, we will regulate, we will require minimum training, we will require CPD, CMP, PI redress, It's exactly what the industry has been calling for years and years and years, but it has taken 20 years. And if I may, it's something that goes back to actually something that one of our other keynote speakers said a few years ago. 2015, we had Alistair Campbell, and something he said in his speech to conference was, by the time an industry is absolutely sick of talking about it, is when it is just cresting the consciousness of the politicians. So I took that message away and was like, we have got to keep hammering and hammering and hammering. And I was over the moon this morning when the minister effectively said exactly, almost word for word, what I was going to say in my speech 2 hours later. So I was really pleased.
Well, it's really great to have Heather Wheeler here as well, quite early on into her tenure in the housing
yes.
department. So great to see her on stage here this morning. Now, we've talked a lot about the fees ban. What is ARLA's stance on that? Because certainly from my perspective, reading in the trades and whatnot, lettings agents are very, very concerned about it and feel that a lot of them will be forced out of business.
Absolutely, unquestionably. We did some research last year that suggested that £700 million is going to be wiped off the turnover of the industry when the fee ban comes into force. It's about 20% of the industry's turnover. Agents are going to stand to lose about 200 million across England. Landlords are going to see increased costs of about 300 million, and tenants' rents are likely to go up by about £103. Now, agents have got to find that 200 million, because that is effectively for a lot of agents, it's their profit margin that is going to get wiped out by the fee ban. It's why I think there are so many people here today looking at some of the new solutions. Now, if you walk around the exhibition today, you see all the traditional industry suppliers, but there's so many new companies, be it new solutions in referencing, new solutions in inventory provision, other ways to generate income through things like utility provisions, ways of reducing costs with outsourcing your client accounting, outsourcing some of your property management function. And all of these companies have kind of popped up over the last couple of years to deal with a monumental change in the industry that is trying to soften the blow. And it's exactly the same as what we are doing. We are trying to soften the blow as much as possible. We can't be their outsourced client account. We can't be their outsourced referencing company. But what we can do is bring them all together in one place and say, here's your choice.
Strength in numbers, of course, from
Absolutely.
the lobbying front as well.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if you agree, but to my mind, certainly with this government, the pendulum has swung a lot more towards in favour of tenants. Of course, they're our clients. None of us would have a business without them. We do respect that. But with the fees ban, what's to stop a tenant going to multiple agents and applying to multiple properties? They've got no skin in the game up to that point. I believe that there does need to be some financial commitment from the tenant going forward with a particular property.
Absolutely. I do not disagree with you on that at all. I think it was one of the mistakes they made in Scotland when they banned fees in 2012. In Scotland, you couldn't take anything from a tenant other than the security deposit and the first month's rent, which led to exactly that. And we ended up with gazumping effectively in the Scottish private rental market. By allowing a holding deposit, if the tenant pulls out because they've done exactly what you suggested and put down 5 holding deposits on 5 different properties and then pull out, they will lose 4 of those holding deposits. It's why we are pushing to actually keep that holding deposit out a week, because it's not too much that a tenant won't be able to afford, but it's also enough to act as an actual deterrent to doing just that. And it's why we will be pushing very hard during the passage of the bill to leave holding deposits as they are at the moment.
Fantastic. Well, just as we close out here today, David, I think the scale of the event today, as you say, all the new exhibitors coming through, the PropTech solutions, it actually all feels really positive.
Buzz.
There's a real buzz, and I think with any business in adversity there always will be opportunity, and I guess the people here today are the people that are going to be seeing the opportunities.
I couldn't agree more. And it is about bringing people together. Yes, you have got competitors in the same room together, but what we try to do with this conference is, yes, when you leave your competitors, But when you come in here, it is all about us trying to do the best we can. How are we going to survive? How are we going to improve? How are we going to seize those opportunities? And what could have been really negative, and the buzz around is demonstrable that it hasn't been. Everybody has taken it in exactly the spirit it was intended to be, and I'm really pleased it's gone as well as it has.